What most people misunderstand about psychology is that you cannot make a narcissist fully commit by loving them harder, chasing them when they pull away, or constantly proving that you are worth staying for. In fact, those behaviors can sometimes create the exact dynamic that keeps you trapped. When someone has strong narcissistic traits, their relationship with attention, validation, control, and emotional closeness can be very different from yours. They may want connection, but they may also fear vulnerability. They may want your attention, but resist giving you consistency. They may come close when they feel they are losing access to you, then become distant again once they feel secure. And this is where most people make their biggest mistake. They respond to distance by giving more messages, more explanations, more affection, more patience, more chances. But psychology teaches us something important. What you repeatedly reward, you can accidentally reinforce. If you want to understand how commitment actually develops in a difficult relationship dynamic, you first have to stop thinking about how to make another person commit and start thinking about what kind of behavior you are willing to accept. Because the strongest position you can have is not making someone afraid of losing you. It is becoming completely unwilling to lose yourself just to keep someone else. A narcissistic person may become extremely interested when they feel your attention slipping away. They may suddenly become affectionate. They may remember things they ignored before. They may tell you that they miss you. They may promise that things will change. And for a moment, you may believe that this is finally the commitment you were waiting for. But then the pattern begins again. Warmth, distance, confusion, reconnection, disappointment. And eventually, you begin measuring your entire emotional state according to their behavior. One day you feel chosen. The next day you feel rejected. One day you feel important. The next day you wonder whether you matter at all. This emotional uncertainty can become incredibly powerful because the human brain tends to become more focused on rewards that are unpredictable. When affection appears randomly, you may start working harder to get it again. You begin analyzing every message, every silence, every change in tone. You start asking yourself what you did wrong. But what if the real problem isn't that you haven't done enough? What if you've been doing too much? This is where the psychological shift begins. You don't need to chase someone into commitment. You need to become clear about what commitment means to you. Commitment is not a dramatic confession after an argument. It is not someone becoming jealous because they think they might lose you. It is not someone returning every time you finally walk away. It is not intense chemistry followed by emotional disappearance. Real commitment is consistency. It is showing up when there is nothing to gain. It is communicating when things become uncomfortable. It is respecting your boundaries even when they don't get their way. It is taking responsibility instead of turning every problem into your fault. And most importantly, it is behavior that remains stable after the emotional intensity disappears. This is why one of the most powerful things you can do in a relationship with a person who has narcissistic traits is stop rewarding inconsistency. If they disappear and you immediately chase them, they learn that disappearing does not cost them access to you. If they disrespect you and you immediately forgive them without any meaningful change, they learn that disrespect does not threaten the relationship. If they give you affection only after you become distant and you immediately return to giving them unlimited attention, they may learn that emotional withdrawal is an effective way to regain control of the dynamic. You don't need to punish them. You don't need to manipulate them. You don't need to play games. You simply need to stop participating in a pattern that hurts you. There is a massive difference between creating healthy distance and using distance as manipulation. Manipulation says, "I will disappear so you become afraid of losing me." Self-respect says, "I will step away when your behavior no longer aligns with what I need." Those two things may look similar from the outside, but psychologically they are completely different. One is about controlling another person's emotions. The other is about controlling your own choices. And that distinction changes everything. Because when you stop trying to control the narcissist's reaction, you regain control over yourself. You stop asking, "How can I make them want me?" And you start asking, "Are they capable of giving me what I need?" That is a much stronger question. You stop asking, "What should I say to make them stay?" And you start asking, "What does their behavior tell me about their willingness to stay?" You stop studying their potential. You start observing their pattern. And patterns are often more honest than promises. Someone can tell you, "I love you," while repeatedly treating you as though you are disposable. Someone can tell you, "I don't want to lose you," while refusing to change the behavior that keeps pushing you away. Someone can tell you, "You're the only person who understands me," while still refusing to offer you emotional safety. Words can create hope. Behavior creates evidence. And if you want to understand whether someone is truly moving toward commitment, stop measuring the relationship by its most beautiful moments. Measure it by its consistency. This is especially important when dealing with someone who constantly moves between closeness and distance. Because when the relationship becomes unpredictable, you can become addicted to the possibility of the next good moment. You may think, maybe tomorrow they will be different. Maybe tomorrow they will call. Maybe tomorrow they will apologize. Maybe tomorrow they will finally understand. Maybe tomorrow they will choose me. And suddenly, your relationship isn't based on what is happening. It is based on what you hope will happen. That is one of the most dangerous places emotionally. Because hope can keep you attached to a person long after their behavior has stopped giving you reasons to feel secure. This is why emotional independence becomes so powerful. Emotional independence does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean pretending you don't care. It does not mean becoming heartless. It means caring without abandoning yourself. You can love someone and still have boundaries. You can miss someone and still refuse to chase them. You can forgive someone and still require change. You can want someone and still walk away from behavior that damages your peace. That is strength. And ironically, when you stop making another person responsible for your emotional stability, the entire relationship dynamic changes. You no longer need their text to feel valuable. You no longer need their approval to feel attractive. You no longer need their attention to feel important. And you no longer need to convince them that you deserve commitment. You simply become someone who knows what they will and will not accept. That clarity is powerful, because people can manipulate your emotions much more easily when they can control your sense of worth. If your confidence depends on whether they choose you, then every withdrawal feels like a personal rejection. But when your identity is secure, their withdrawal becomes information. You don't immediately think, "What's wrong with me?" You think, "What is this behavior telling me?" That is a completely different psychological position. And this is where boundaries become essential. A boundary is not a threat. A boundary is not, "If you do this again, I'll make you suffer." A healthy boundary sounds more like, "I won't continue participating in conversations where I'm being insulted." Or, "I need consistency in a relationship, so I won't continue a relationship that repeatedly disappears and reappears without explanation." The power of a boundary doesn't come from how intimidating it sounds. The power comes from whether you actually follow it. Because if you announce 10 boundaries and enforce none of them, eventually your words lose meaning. But when your behavior consistently communicates your standards, you become predictable in the healthiest possible way. They know what you will accept, they know what you won't accept, and most importantly, you know what you will accept. That last part matters more than anything. Because sometimes people spend so much time trying to teach another person how to treat them that they forget they are allowed to leave when the treatment doesn't change. You are not a rehabilitation center for someone else's emotional dysfunction. You are not required to sacrifice your peace to prove your loyalty. And you do not have to remain in confusion just because someone occasionally gives you moments of affection. A relationship should not require you to constantly decode another person's behavior. Now, there is another psychological trap that many people fall into. They confuse jealousy with commitment. They think, "They became jealous, so they must really love me." But jealousy can come from many places. It can come from insecurity. It can come from fear of abandonment. It can come from possessiveness. It can come from a desire for control. And sometimes, it can come from genuine attachment. But jealousy alone does not prove emotional maturity. Someone can become extremely jealous while still refusing to treat you with respect. Someone can become possessive while still being emotionally unavailable. Someone can fear losing access to you without actually being willing to build a healthy relationship with you. So don't measure commitment by how strongly someone reacts when they think you're leaving. Measure commitment by how consistently they behave when they know you're staying. That's the test. Anyone can become emotional during a crisis. Anyone can promise change when they feel consequences approaching. But real character becomes visible when there is no immediate pressure, when everything is calm, when nobody is threatening to leave, when there is nothing dramatic happening. Does the person still communicate? Do they still respect you? Do they still make effort? Do they still keep their promises? Do they still take responsibility? That is where commitment lives, not in emotional emergencies, in ordinary days. And this is also why you should never become obsessed with creating scarcity simply to make someone chase you. Yes, constant availability can sometimes create an unhealthy dynamic, but pretending to be unavailable is not the answer. The goal isn't to become difficult to access. The goal is to have a life that does not collapse when someone walks away. There is a difference. If you're genuinely busy building your own life, pursuing your goals, spending time with people who care about you, taking care of your mind, developing your confidence, and protecting your peace, you naturally become less dependent on someone else's attention. You don't need to fake independence, you develop it. And genuine independence is far more powerful than psychological games. Because games eventually become exhausting. Authenticity creates stability. If someone only wants you when you're emotionally unavailable, that's not necessarily commitment. It may simply mean that the distance activates their desire, and once they have access again, the desire may disappear. This is why you must pay attention to what happens after the chase. If they pursue you intensely when you're leaving but become distant once they have you again, don't confuse the pursuit with commitment. The pursuit may be real. The attraction may be real. The fear of losing you may be real. But commitment requires something deeper. It requires the ability to tolerate intimacy. It requires emotional responsibility. It requires consistency. And if someone is unable or unwilling to provide those things, no psychological technique can magically manufacture them. This is the truth many people don't want to hear. You cannot control another person's capacity for healthy love. You can influence a relationship dynamic. You can communicate differently. You can set boundaries. You can change what you reward. You can change how much access someone has to you. But you cannot force emotional maturity into another human being. And understanding that truth can actually set you free. Because once you stop trying to make them become someone they're not, you can finally see who they actually are. Maybe they will rise to your standards. Maybe they will begin taking responsibility. Maybe they will recognize that your presence cannot be taken for granted. Maybe they will decide that they genuinely want a stable relationship. But if they don't, you will also have your answer. And that answer is valuable, because uncertainty keeps you emotionally trapped. Clarity gives you your power back. Think about how different your life becomes when you stop asking, "How do I make them stay?" Imagine replacing that question with, "What would make me want to stay?" That's where the entire perspective shifts. You are no longer auditioning for a place in someone's life. You are evaluating whether their life has a healthy place for you. You are no longer begging to be chosen. You are deciding whether their behavior deserves your continued investment. You are no longer trying to prove that you're irreplaceable. You are becoming irreplaceable to yourself, and that is the deepest psychological transformation. Because the ultimate goal isn't to make a narcissist fully commit to you. The ultimate goal is to become so emotionally grounded that you no longer need to manipulate, chase, convince, or beg anyone into giving you what should naturally exist in a healthy relationship. If they choose commitment, let it be demonstrated through actions. If they promise change, let time prove it. If they return, don't immediately reward their return with unlimited access. Observe, listen, watch what happens next, because anyone can come back. The real question is whether they come back differently. Anyone can say they miss you. The real question is whether they can treat you differently. Anyone can promise they will never pull away again. The real question is whether their behavior remains consistent when the emotional excitement disappears. That is how you protect yourself from being trapped by words. You don't need to become colder. You need to become clearer. You don't need to become more manipulative. You need to become more grounded. You don't need to make them afraid of losing you. You need to become unwilling to lose yourself. And once you understand that, you will realize something incredibly powerful. The person with the greatest psychological power in a relationship is not necessarily the person who cares less. It is often the person who can care deeply without surrendering their standards. Because love without boundaries can become self-abandonment. Attention without standards can become reinforcement. Forgiveness without change can become permission. And commitment without consistency is only a word. So if you truly want to know whether someone can stay, stop trying to hold them there. Give them the opportunity to demonstrate it. Give them room to choose. Give yourself enough distance to observe. And then watch their behavior. If they step forward with consistency, accountability, respect, and genuine effort, you have something real to evaluate. If they only return when they fear losing access to you, then you have learned something equally important. You have learned that being wanted is not always the same as being valued. Being pursued is not always the same as being respected. Being missed is not always the same as being loved. And being unable to let you go is not always the same as being capable of committing to you. That distinction can save you years of emotional confusion. So don't spend your life trying to become the perfect person for someone who keeps changing the rules. Become the person who knows their own rules. Know what respect looks like. Know what consistency looks like. Know what accountability looks like. Know what emotional safety feels like. And when someone cannot provide those things, don't immediately assume you need to try harder. Sometimes the strongest move is not another message, not another explanation, not another chance. Sometimes the strongest move is simply stepping back and allowing reality to speak. Because when you stop interfering with the pattern reveals itself. And when you stop chasing the person, you finally get the opportunity to see whether they were actually walking toward you. That is the psychology most people miss. The goal was never to control the narcissist. The goal was to stop allowing their behavior to control you.